I'm going to do my best to make some sense of this crazy time-traveling German drama. I mean, it is some of the best TV ever created. Obviously, this is going to contain spoilers, so if you don't want it spoiled or you haven't seen it yet, you can check out my spoiler-free review. I've linked it in the description below. As I go along, please join in the discussion. If I've got something right, if I got something wrong, if you have a differing opinion, let me know in the comments below. I love learning from other people and I love the feedback. So let's just cause a great discussion. Cool? So Jonas begins in 2052, and we assume that it's that year because he jumps from 2019, and the cycle happens every 33 years. So it's safe to assume that at least the first time he goes, that he lands in the future, that a post-apocalyptic type thing. So he meets the deaf woman in 2052, who is seemingly the leader of this band of people who are still in Winden. We've come to find out that this is Elizabeth, the daughter of Charlotte and Peter. And then we also learn that Elizabeth partnered up with Noah and had a kid, and that was Charlotte. And then Noah, for reasons yet to be uncovered, takes Charlotte to 1953, and then she grows up from there, I guess to save her. But then what's crazy is, growing up from 1953, Charlotte meets Peter and has a daughter. Well, she has two daughters, really, Francisca and Elizabeth. So Elizabeth is Charlotte's mom, but also her daughter. I'm my own grandpa. I think this is best explained by Claudia when she talks about how when something from the future goes to the past and is introduced, then it creates this unending cycle, because once it gets to the future, the present, from wherever it came, there's no starting point. So like, take example, when she goes and she takes the book to Tonhouse, I don't know how his name is, the clockmaker, the guy who builds the time machine, who writes the book about time travel. She takes it to him and he's like, what is this? And she goes, this is what you're going to write. Well, he hasn't written it yet, but now he can write it because he's seen it. So in the future, Claudia is able to have the book and then take it back to him. Well, at that point, when did the book actually start? It didn't. It doesn't have an origin anymore. And that's kind of with Charlotte and Elizabeth and Noah. I mean, when did Charlotte actually begin? It's kind of weird. At least that time travel thing and that loop kind of works within there. Maybe not necessarily with Charlotte. I think it kind of does. But anyway, the infinite loop, the no beginning anymore, that is how they explain a lot of the events that happen. Now we meet Noah in 1920, and he and this other guy are digging a tunnel that's under the caves, or it's in the caves, but it's not going to be completed for 33 years, and so it's not even complete. So when you get back to 1920, you're kind of stuck there unless you have one of the time machines, or as we find out later, the big giant black orb thing, because you're stuck. There's no way to get through the tunnel into the center of the mass that, you know, where all the power is and all the time happens. So in 1920 though, old Noah and young Noah, they meet. And old Noah, it's crucial because he will not tell young Noah what is going to happen. He wants young Noah to experience it all. And it's kind of interesting at that point, because kind of like Claudia with the book, if old Noah doesn't tell young Noah what to expect, how does he know that it will still continue on that exact same path? But then also what old Noah doesn't see coming is that Agnes is told by Adam to kill him. And so old Noah dies in 1920 after making his leaps back and forth and guiding people. And I guess that completes Noah's cycle, because after that, he's done. He doesn't go any further on. Maybe. While Noah is an agent of Adam and Sigmundus, we still don't know if they're the good guys or not. We do learn, though, that Adam is a much older Jonas. I mean, he is all pockmarked and a little bit disformed from all of the time travel that he has done. It has taken its toll on him, and he has ended up in 1920 as the leader of this, to guide them, to reset time, to stop the world as it is and to reset it completely. But then you have to think about Adam in 1920 can only happen because Jonas has traveled from the future and thus beginning that cycle. You got to wonder if Jonas is actually able to break the cycle. Does he break it? because there's now no real beginning or end to him. There are some straightforward parts to the story. We have Mikkel, who goes from 2019 to 1986. There he meets Hannah, and he grows up with her, and he falls in love with her. He changes his name to Michael, and then Michael and Hannah have a child, Jonas. Now we see that Jonas tries to fix that timeline, because if Michael doesn't kill himself, then he can't leave the note and the map, and Jonas can't go find the caves and travel back in time. So if Michael doesn't kill himself, Jonas ceases, theoretically, to exist, which also means, though, that Mikkel doesn't go back from 2019 to 1986. So essentially, if Jonas can truly fix Michael from committing suicide, if he can stop that, then he thinks he's fixed the timeline. But what he doesn't realize is that by telling Michael what happens, Michael chooses at that moment to commit suicide, that he solidifies it in his mind. So really, Adam has secured what he wants to happen by telling Jonas that, I want you to still go through, I want you to have all of this happen. And Jonas is like, no, I don't want this to happen. But really, it's reverse psychology. And Jonas then causes Michael to kill himself, thus continuing the cycle. We can see and know that Jonas is in love with Martha, and he ends up sleeping with her, even though that she is his aunt. But it could be argued that he doesn't know that at that point, because when Jonas sleeps with Martha, it is the day before Mikkel goes missing. And therefore Jonas, and even before Michael kills himself. So Jonas hasn't theoretically in that part jumped. And so what we watch is there are two Jonases in the same year. One from the day from June, I think 20th, and one from June 19th. It doesn't really matter. They're separated by a day. And so this Jonas is going along in his timeline. This Jonas has jumped forward and back and all over the place. And so when this Jonas leaves, this is when this Jonas tells Martha that he loves her. They end up kissing. But then at the party, this Jonas, who doesn't know that he's about to time travel, sleeps with Martha. Therefore, kind of being okay with him sleeping with his aunt. I mean, it's still kind of creepy and weird, but at least he didn't know about it. And Hannah, Jonas's mom, sleeps with Ulrich, Jonas's grandfather. So there you go. That's a little bit of uncomfortableness also. So in 1920, when we see Noah and Noah, both old and young Noahs, with Adam, we see two people walk out to kind of escort young Noah in to meet with Adam. And that is Magnus, and whom we can assume is Francesca, because they disappeared with Bartos from 2019, right before the apocalypse happens. Now, I'm also going to assume that Bartos is a member of Sigmundus, because there is a photo with Adam in the center, that old-time photo, and you see this guy off to the side. Now, he has a mustache, but he looks exactly like Bartos. Ulrich went back to 1953 when he was going through the caves looking for Mikkel. There he spends the next 33 years in a mental institution because they think, the police at that time believe, that he was killing children. Once Egon has a visit from Claudia in 1986, he begins to really wonder, and he starts to put pieces back together, which makes him then visit this unknown person in the insane asylum. And he begins to also connect those dots and put the pieces together to realize that he is Ulrich, which is crazy because in 1986, he yelled at Ulrich, the younger and the older, in the mental institution. In 1986, after 33 years of being locked up, Ulrich finally is able to escape from the mental institution. And there he comes upon Mikkel in 1986, the son that he has been looking for. Now, Ulrich is 33 years older. Mikkel is the same age as when he disappeared from 2019, but they recognize each other. When Ulrich puts his glass upside down and he says the words, and I don't remember exactly what he says, but it was something that Mikkel recognized, and they embrace. And then they go to the caves because they both know that that's where they disappeared from. That's how they time traveled. And this is their way to get back. And then we see them on the run there, and Egon and the rest of the police arresting them and taking them away. It's a heartbreaking moment when Ulrich is being driven away in the cop car, and he sees Martha and Magnus and their friends on the side of the road who have traveled back to 1986. There's that connection there. They don't see him, he sees them, and his world is just rocking at this point because he's seen all of his kids in the same day for the first time in 33 years, and they haven't aged at all, and he's an older guy. If Mikkel and Ulrich would have made it to 2019, if they would have been arrested there, would they have fixed part of the timeline? I don't know. Let me know if you know. We also learn why Claudia visits Egon in 1953 and tells him she's sorry. Now, he has no idea, but she right then is giving foreshadowing and also apologizing for killing him in 1986. Now, she doesn't mean to. It is an accident, but nonetheless, she kills her father. So when she comes back in 1953 and meets with him, she apologizes, and he's a little bit confused, but at least it spurs him on a little bit to think more of what's going on. Now, Claudia is known as the White Witch, and she is traveling to and fro through time, and she's making all of these notes. We learn that Adam is looking for her notebook, her journal, because it has all of the other keys to some of the time travel and some of the timelines that he needs to know in order to succeed his plan, or at least thwart hers. But she rips them out and gives them to Noah before she dies. Now, in a stroke of genius, Noah never gives them to Adam, well, of course, until 1920, where then he is shot by Agnes and dies also, but he gives them, he throws them at Adam in a moment of frustration. I think by Noah throwing those at Adam, Adam now has all of the pieces to the puzzle that he needs. We don't see him putting those together. We don't see him collating them back into the book that he has, but now he has all of that information, and I think that that is going to play a major part in season 3. Now, the same question that we pose about Adam, we have to pose about Claudia. Is she the good one or the bad one? I mean, what does she want? What is her end goal? In 2020, when the apocalypse happens, we see Claudia, who has traveled back from 1986. I mean, it's that Claudia, not the super old one. She has grabbed Regina and taken her to the bunker where Peter and Elizabeth already are, and then Noah comes in as well. And at that same time, Katerina is under the tunnels, and she opens up the door, and you see all of the time, the little blue light swirling around. When she opens up the tunnel, there's this huge bright white light right before the apocalypse happens. Now, we know that all of those in the bunker, they survive. Where does Katerina go? Is she obliterated by the apocalypse event? Is she transported to a new time? And the big black sphere, we know, enables time travel. But does it do more? Because as Adam goes from 1920 to 2020, and in an effort to continue Jonas on the path that he wants him to keep on, he kills Martha. Then we see Martha from another dimension, or another world, I'm going to say dimension, shows up. So does the black sphere allow dimensional travel as well? And does Adam, who's Jonas, already know that Martha from another dimension is going to show up and save him from the apocalypse event? So here's something that's been kind of bothering me as I'm watching it. When the apocalypse event happens, Jonas's house is obliterated. I mean, it's just blown through. But in 2052, 2053, when Jonas is in that future world, he goes to his house and it's not really destroyed. I mean, it's old and it's decrepit and it's certainly falling apart, but it's not blown out like from a nuclear blast type of thing. So is 2052, 2053, is that a different dimension? When they open that up and Charlotte and Elizabeth see each other and they almost touch, are they in different worlds? Are they in different, yes, they're timelines, but are they different dimensions? I don't know, and I really want to know. So where does Inspector Clausen fit in all of this? I mean, we know that he is there to help investigate all the disappearances that are going on, especially now that Ulrich has also gone missing. But secretly, he's also investigating the murder of his brother. We find out is Alexander Tiedemann. Well, actually, his brother isn't Alexander Tiedemann. Alexander Tiedemann is the one who killed his brother, then assumed his identity, then took Tiedemann's last name when they got married. That makes sense, right? His brother's death could play a part in season 3, but I think more so the investigation of Tiedemann, Alexander Tiedemann, is so that Clausen can then go to the power plant. And while he's there and while he's investigating and he comes across the sealed up container of the cooling pool, he digs it up. when he digs it up, that is the catalyst that is needed to expose the event, the God particle, so that the apocalypse event can actually occur. So here's another question I got. When Hannah goes back to 1953, she sees Ulrich in the institution, or at least in the jail, and they have their conversation. She wants to know, do you still love me? And he doesn't. We know that. He was just a fling for him, but she's totally infatuated with him, that she walks away and leaves him locked up. Where does Hannah go? She still has the time machine, so we never see her again. Where's she going to end up? What happens to her? Here's another question I have. Can Jonas get with alternate Martha? I mean, he's in love with Martha who died, so is he in love with Martha that didn't die from the alternate universe? I mean, technically he's not, but it's hard to imagine that he wouldn't also have feelings for her just seeing her. And how does that whole thing work out? So here are a couple of predictions that I have for season 3. Jonas finds out how he becomes Adam and what the true goal of Sigmundos is and what his plan actually is. Not what he's kind of been, as he's been manipulating the time, Adam that is, but Jonas really decides or really figures out what's going on. So here's another theory that I have. Alternate Martha goes to 1920 and kills Adam, thus correcting Jonas's timeline, but also keeping him from ever existing. This leads me to a whole nother question. Does alternate Martha and her dimension even exist without Adam's plan and his messing around and causing this dimensional rift? So hopefully I answered a lot of your questions, or at least I cleared some stuff up. But what did I miss? What did I get wrong? What don't you agree with? Let me know in the comments below. Let's continue on this conversation and really fill me in. As I said at the beginning, I love feedback and I love learning from the community so that we can really dive in more and get a better understanding of this amazing show. Leave all of your thoughts, theories, and everything in the comments. I can't wait to read them. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and consider subscribing if you haven't. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.